As Ye Xuan charges toward an enemy far beyond his strength, the mysterious woman in white finally answers his call. With nothing more than a sword formed from bamboo leaves, she confronts a sword emperor and the powerful experts who came from the central divine continent. But her overwhelming victory carries a warning. Ye Xuan can no longer depend on her protection. From this moment forward, he must walk the path of the sword with his own strength. While new enemies arrive from Canglan Academy's main branch, Ye Xuan and his companions continue rebuilding their academy, cultivating without rest, and preparing for their first true student recruitment. Now, let us follow the next developments in the First Sword God, Episode 24. The moment the sword hilt atop the tower began trembling violently, Ye Xuan felt as though his head had been struck by a massive hammer. His consciousness immediately grew hazy, and blood poured from all 7 of his orifices, making him look terrifying. Mo Yunxi and the other 2 changed expression and hurriedly supported him. At that exact moment, the woman in white standing above the bamboo forest gently pressed down with her left hand. "I was not calling you." The instant those words fell, the sword hilt trembling inside Ye Xuan calmed down. Before becoming completely still, however, it released a soft sword cry, as though expressing something. Above the bamboo forest, the woman in white opened her left hand toward the sky. "Sword, come." As soon as she spoke, rustle, 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 the entire bamboo forest shook. Under everyone's stunned gazes, countless bamboo leaves soared into the air and converged upon the woman in white. The leaves gathered in her palm and quickly condensed into a sword made entirely of bamboo leaves. She closed her fingers around it. The expressions of the white-robed old man and the others in the distance changed immediately, especially the sword cultivator carrying the enormous sword on his back. What kind of technique was this? He had never seen anything like it. He had never even heard of such a thing. Below, Mo Yunqi and the others stared blankly at the scene before them. They had met the woman in white before. The last time they watched her sweep through every opponent in her path, they had been deeply shaken, yet they had never asked Ye Xuan about her. It was a matter of respect. They understood that when the time came for him to speak, Ye Xuan would tell them himself. Ye Xuan raised his head and looked toward the woman in white. In truth, he was just as shocked as everyone else. The mysterious woman. She truly was mysterious. From beginning to end, everything about her remained an enigma. Ye Xuan knew nothing of her origins. He knew only one thing. She was strong, unbelievably strong. Every time she emerged, even the creature on the second floor became extremely well-behaved. In the sky, the white-robed old man and the others stared fixedly at her. Their eyes were filled with solemn caution. The woman in white had not yet attacked, yet all 4 of them could already feel an invisible pressure bearing down upon them. What she had just displayed made them even more wary. Standing atop the bamboo forest with the leaf sword in hand, the woman in white pointed at the 4 of them. "Come, attack together. Attack together." The entire area fell deathly silent. Below, Mo Yunqi gently nudged Ye Xuan's arm. "Bandit Yi, where did you find a master like this? Introduce me." Ye Xuan replied seriously, "You would not qualify." "Why not?" Confusion covered Mo Yunqi's face. "Am I not handsome enough?" "Ugh!" Beside him, Bai Zhe made an exaggerated retching sound. Xianxia had been eating a steamed bun. The moment she heard Mo Yunqi's words, she spat out the mouthful in disgust. Ye Xuan lightly patted Mo Yunqi on the shoulder. "I used to think you were merely narcissistic. It turns out I was wrong. You are not narcissistic, you are blind. Handsome? What connection do you have with that word?" Mo Yunqi. At that moment, the middle-aged man carrying the great sword moved to the left side of the woman in white. The distance between them was not great. A sword emperor. This was a sword emperor from the central divine continent. The instant his overwhelming sword intent appeared, everyone present felt an invisible pressure descend upon them. Ye Xuan kept his eyes tightly closed. Boundless battle intent and sword intent surged from his body as he resisted the sword emperor's oppressive aura. Mo Yunqi, Bai Zhe, and Jianji moved closer to his side. Together, the 4 of them resisted the sword intent of a sword emperor. In the sky, the middle-aged man gripped his great sword and frowned. A thread of sword light flickered at the tip of the enormous blade. In the distance, the woman in white had been about to attack, but she suddenly stopped. From the moment she appeared until now, her back had remained turned toward everyone. No one had seen her face clearly, not even Ye Xuan. To this day, he had never seen what the woman in white truly looked like. The middle-aged man stared at her from across the sky. "Do you dare receive one sword from me?" His voice rolled through the heavens like thunder. Momentum. Sword momentum. This was the first time Ye Xuan had truly sensed the momentum of an accomplished sword cultivator. The middle-aged man before him carried an immensely powerful presence, one many times stronger than Ye Xuan's own sword momentum. A terrifying sword cultivator. Standing above the bamboo forest, the woman in white replied calmly, "You talk too much." As soon as the words left her mouth, she opened her left hand. The bamboo leaf sword flew out. The strike looked ordinary, truly ordinary. There was no sword momentum, no sword intent, and not even the slightest trace of sword light. Anyone who witnessed it would have only one thought. This sword strike was far too ordinary, yet the middle-aged man's expression changed dramatically. He leapt into the air and swung his great sword down with all his strength. The instant the blade descended, endless sword light, sword intent, and sword momentum erupted from it like a volcano. It seemed capable of shattering the entire land below. Ye Xuan and the others grew solemn. If this sword struck Jiyun Mountain, the entire mountain would be cleaved apart. A sword emperor. He was a genuine sword emperor. One sword could split mountains. One sword could tear open the earth. One sword could sever life itself. This was a supreme expert standing at the peak of the world. But what about the mysterious woman? Mo Yunqi and the others stared at her bamboo leaf sword. Compared with the enormous blade in the middle-aged man's hands, the difference appeared as vast as heaven and earth. The two attacks seemed completely incomparable. Yet when the leaf sword reached him, before everyone's eyes, it cut apart everything released by the great sword. The blade, the sword momentum, the sword light, the sword energy, all of it shattered instantly. As easily as cutting through thin paper. The bamboo leaf sword pierced the middle-aged man directly between the brows. It entered without resistance. The entire battlefield fell silent. Everyone seemed to have gone numb. Killed instantly? In the distance, disbelief filled the eyes of the remaining three elders. No, it was fear, pure fear, an instant kill. Their opponent had been a sword emperor. Even a sword immortal should not have been able to kill a sword emperor so effortlessly in a single instant. That was precisely why they were terrified. Even a sword immortal could not casually erase a sword emperor with one strike. Yet the woman in white had done exactly that. Who was she? The three elders stood frozen in place. Hidden in the darkness, the Tower Master of Drunken Immortal Tower shook his head and smiled bitterly. At last he understood why the mysterious woman had never asked Drunken Immortal Tower for assistance. At the same time, he felt fortunate. Fortunately, Drunken Immortal Tower had not become Ye Xuan's mortal enemy like Canglan Academy. They had withdrawn before it was too late, and had instead done everything possible to establish goodwill with him. Otherwise, Drunken Immortal Tower might have suffered a devastating fall, and even that might have been the lightest possible outcome. This time, Canglan Academy had truly suffered catastrophic misfortune. Everyone suddenly looked toward the middle-aged man in the air. He stared blankly at the woman in white. Sword intent poured madly from his body, becoming stronger with every passing moment. A breakthrough. The remaining elders looked on in disbelief. At the moment before his death, the middle-aged man was about to break through in the sword Dao. A smile appeared on his lips. So that is how it is. What a pity. What a pity. The light faded from his eyes. The enormous iron sword slipped from his hand, fell from the sky, and buried itself in the ground. Ye Xuan's expression did not change. He walked over to the massive sword, picked it up, and threw it into the world prison tower. Then he calmly returned to Mo Yunqi and the others, as though nothing had happened. Mo Yunqi, Baiza, and Xianxia. In the sky, the middle-aged man's body began fading away little by little until it completely disappeared. The green leaf sword returned to the woman in white. She held it in her right hand, then placed 2 fingers of her left hand against the blade, and slowly slid them along its surface. She stood above the bamboo forest, her white dress and long hair flowing in the wind. She said nothing. Yet everyone present felt that she did not belong to the mortal world. No, perhaps even the heavens contained no other woman like her. At that moment, the bamboo leaf sword suddenly flew before Ye Xuan. His expression changed. What was she planning to do? The woman in white asked, "Do you know why he broke through just now?" Ye Xuan hesitated, then shook his head. The bamboo leaf sword suddenly struck his shoulder. Smack! Ye Xuan's body trembled violently. The pain nearly made him cry out. It reached all the way into his bones. The woman in white said coldly, "All you know how to do is pick up treasures. Look at how promising you are." Ye Xuan, her voice remained cold. When a person passes through the boundary of death, they often understand many things. That is one of the greatest opportunities for enlightenment. What you currently lack is depth and understanding of life. You must experience these things yourself. No one else can do it for you. Remember this, no one knows whether tomorrow or an accident will arrive first. Live every day as though it were your last. Ye Xuan hurriedly bowed. I understand. Smack! The bamboo leaf sword struck his left shoulder again. The white-robed old man and the elder standing on the bamboo staff were completely stunned. One sword and he was gone? The black-robed old man had not even had time to attack before being sent to meet his ancestors? The 2 survivors were horrified beyond words. They had already suspected that the woman before them might be a sword immortal. No, she might not be an ordinary sword immortal at all. Even sword immortals differed greatly in strength, and the woman before them had already exceeded the limits of their understanding. How were they supposed to fight? Stand there and wait for death. Death itself was not what frightened them most. What truly terrified them was what would happen to Canglan Academy and the underworld afterward. What if the mysterious woman decided to take revenge? Could those two forces endure her retaliation? The two men were naturally terrified. After killing the black-robed elder with a single sword, the woman in white pointed her bamboo leaf sword at the white-robed elder and the old man standing on the bamboo staff. "Were you not looking for me? Surprised to see me? Are you happy now?" Ye Xuan's face darkened. The mysterious woman was becoming increasingly playful. In the sky, the two elders looked extremely grim. At last, the white-robed elder said heavily, "We admit defeat." They admitted defeat. Even a sword emperor had been killed instantly. There was no possibility that the two of them could win. The woman in white suddenly said, "Get lost! Get lost!" The two elders froze. She was telling them to leave? She was not going to kill them? Below, Ye Xuan and the others were equally stunned. Why was she sparing them? Ye Xuan hurriedly said, "Kill them." "We cannot." Before he could finish, the bamboo leaf sword shot down from the sky. Ye Xuan had no time to react before it whipped across his shoulder. Smack! The sound was sharp and clear. The pain nearly brought tears to his eyes. It hurt far too much. The woman in white said coldly, "Kill them? Then do it yourself. Go on, kill them." Ye Xuan. She pointed toward the white-robed old man and the elder on the bamboo staff. "You may target the children below however you wish. It would be best if you forced them into a desperate situation. But from now on, if anyone more than 2 major realms above them comes to attack, I will show you what it truly means for the strong to bully the weak. Now get out of here. A few pieces of trash actually dared come here and waste my sleeping time." The white-robed elder and the old man on the bamboo staff exchanged glances. At last, both bowed toward the mysterious woman, turned and left. Before departing, they each glanced toward Ye Xuan and the others. Now they understood. They were free to target Ye Xuan's group, but they could not use senior experts to bully the younger generation. Before long, both elders disappeared beyond the horizon. The woman in white suddenly pointed her sword at Ye Xuan. "Follow me." With that, she descended to the ground. Ye Xuan hesitated. He did not want to go. His instincts told him that nothing good would come of following her. Unfortunately, he understood something even more clearly. Refusing would end far more miserably. He followed her, feeling as though there was nothing left in life worth clinging to. Behind them, Mo Yunqi and the other two exchanged glances. Mo Yunqi said, "There is a very high chance he's about to be beaten." Bai Ze nodded. "He should be beaten." The mysterious woman suddenly stopped. "You should know that in this world, especially in certain extraordinary places, some geniuses have guardians protecting them." "Guardians?" Ye Xuan asked, confused. She replied calmly, "A guardian is someone who protects a genius while that person rises. Behind almost every monstrous genius who successfully reaches the top, stands someone who sheltered them along the way. Without such protection, even the greatest talents can easily die before they mature. And Xianxia, whom you met before, also has a guardian behind her. You were simply too weak to sense that person." Ye Xuan fell silent. He looked at the mysterious woman and hesitated before saying, "Senior than you. Do not imagine things." She interrupted him immediately. "I am not your guardian." Ye Xuan. The mysterious woman continued walking into the distance. Ye Xuan followed slowly behind her. Her long white dress brushed across the ground, yet not a single grain of dust clung to it. When she remained silent, Ye Xuan did not dare speak. After a while, she said, "No one else can walk the path of a sword cultivator for you. No one will pave that road beneath your feet. You must walk it yourself. Since you chose this path, you can only continue forward on your own." She paused, then continued, "I have acted too many times because of you. The tower's seals have begun loosening. I must spend a great deal of energy and time suppressing them." Ye Xuan hesitated before asking, "Senior, with your strength, you want to ask why someone as powerful as I am was imprisoned inside the tower?" Ye Xuan nodded quickly. That was exactly what he wanted to know. She replied coldly, "Why do you ask so many questions?" "Ye Xuan," she continued walking, "your younger sister has been taken away?" Ye Xuan nodded. The mysterious woman was silent for a moment. She does not possess a cold physique. Her condition is far more unusual. If possible, find her before she reaches the 10,000 Dharma realm. Ye Xuan frowned. "Why?" "She is very special," the mysterious woman replied. "After reaching that place, she will receive intense cultivation and support. Her strength will increase at a frightening speed. Once she reaches the 10,000 Dharma realm, her cultivation must be suppressed. If it is not, she will become extremely powerful within a short time, but serious hidden dangers will remain in her future. She is an excellent seed. Do not allow flaws to appear in her foundation." Ye Xuan's expression became solemn. He nodded. "I will find her as quickly as possible. But senior, my sister, you cannot understand what makes her unusual," the mysterious woman said calmly. "Even I was surprised to encounter someone like her in this place. You will learn what is special about her in the future." In any case, it is a good thing. There is no need to be anxious. Ye Xuan nodded, but he still could not stop worrying. He wondered whether anyone at that distant place was bullying Yi Lian. The mysterious woman suddenly opened her right hand. The bamboo leaf sword swept through the surrounding forest. In an instant, every leaf separated from the blade and returned to its original place upon the bamboo stalks. Seeing this, Ye Xuan's face filled with longing. "Senior, what is that technique called? Can you teach it to me?" She opened her palm and answered, "The sword exists within the heart. My heart contains heaven and earth, and all heaven and earth become my sword. My heart contains the universe, and the entire universe becomes my sword. Your level is far too low. You would not understand." Ye Xuan, her figure gradually became transparent. "I did not kill those people because I wanted to frighten away the other small fry. After this, until you find the second Dao Rule, I cannot act again. Not only can I not act, I cannot leave the tower even one step. Otherwise, you will die and the tower will be destroyed. One more thing. Within half a year, you must retrieve the sword I sent to King Zhou. If you fail to bring it back, I will break your legs." She seemed to remember something and added, "You should also deal with the creature on the second floor as quickly as possible. I do not care what method you use. It would be best if you could make it follow you willingly. Otherwise, all of you will die." After saying this, the woman in white disappeared completely. Ye Xuan, a moment later, he turned to leave. His expression suddenly changed. He collapsed to the ground and began trembling violently. In the darkness, Ye Xuan convulsed uncontrollably. A miniature tower flickered in and out of existence between his brows. Backlash. The moment the woman in white disappeared, the backlash arrived. Ye Xuan curled into himself on the ground. His face twisted until it was nearly unrecognizable. It felt as though an invisible force were madly twisting every part of his body. Twisting. The agony made him wish for death. Fortunately, the woman in white had stopped acting. If she had continued, the consequences would have been even worse. At that moment, Mo Yunqi and the others rushed over. The instant they saw Ye Xuan, all three changed expression. Mo Yunqi hurriedly supported him and asked in a trembling voice, "Bandit Ye, are you all right?" Baiza quickly poured out a golden wound pill and fed it to Ye Xuan. But Ye Xuan continued shaking violently, curling into himself from the pain. The three companions immediately became flustered. Ye Xuan forced out a trembling reply. I am fine, I only need to rest for a while." Mo Yunqi, Baiza, and Jianji remained beside him until dawn. Ye Xuan did not truly recover until noon. By then his entire body was soaked. He was covered in sweat, the main academy. Naturally, Ye Xuan and the other three knew about Canglan Academy's main academy. The four exchanged glances. At last, Mo Yunqi asked in a deep voice, "Why have they come here?" The tower master shook his head. "I fear they have not come with good intentions." "Not with good intentions." Ye Xuan thought for a moment, then said, "Let us go see them." He led Mo Yunqi and the others toward Canglan Hall. Behind them, the tower master watched the four leave. After hesitating briefly, he followed. He did not wish to interfere in Canglan Academy's internal affairs, but if possible, he still wanted to offer some help. At this point, he was no longer merely trying to win Ye Xuan over. Deep in his heart, he was truly grateful for the mysterious woman's guidance. To him, it had been a life-changing favor. Canglan Hall. Three young men stood before Ye Xuan and his companions. All three were still youths. This surprised Ye Xuan's group. None of them had expected the visitors from the main academy to be so young. The leader wore brocade robes. His posture was straight, his gaze cold, and his entire body radiated an aura that seemed to warn everyone to keep their distance. The two men beside him wore long robes of black and white. These were the uniforms of Canglan Academy. The man standing to the brocade-robed youth's left stepped forward. He swept his gaze across Ye Xuan's group before finally fixing it on Ye Xuan. "Where is Ji Yun? Tell him to come out and answer me." Ye Xuan suddenly vanished. Smack! The crisp sound of a slap echoed through the hall. The speaker was sent flying. Seeing this, the brocade-robed youth narrowed his eyes. A powerful aura erupted from his body. At that exact moment, Baize stomped his right foot against the ground. Boom! The floor cracked instantly. Baize shot forward like an arrow released from a bow, charging straight toward the brocade-robed youth. The young man's pupils contracted. He thrust his palm forward, releasing a sharp wave of palm force. Bang! He had barely completed the attack when Baize's power sent him flying all the way to the entrance of the hall. The instant he landed, the ground behind him cracked. Blood flowed from the corner of his mouth. The brocade-robed youth stared at his reddened palm, then looked at Baize in disbelief. "Demon beast strength! You possess a demon bloodline!" Baize did not answer. He looked toward Ye Xuan. Ye Xuan gave a slight nod. Only then did Baize stop and retreat to his side. Ye Xuan looked toward the brocade-robed youth. "I do not enjoy wasting words. You are not welcome here. You have two choices. Leave on your own, or I will send you out." The brocade-robed youth stared at him. "The three of us came from the main academy in the central divine continent. How dare you treat us this way? Ye Xuan walked slowly toward them. The man who had been slapped glared at him, making no attempt to hide the killing intent in his eyes. The moment Baize and Mo Yunqi saw that killing intent, both frowned and prepared to attack again. Ye Xuan raised a hand. Do not attack. We must convince people through virtue. Convince people through virtue. The corner of Mo Yunqi's mouth twitched. Virtue is ass. Who did not know that Bandit Yi was addicted to solving problems with violence? Ye Xuan looked at the brocade-robed youth. Tell me why you came. The youth stared coldly at him. We came to inform you that you are forbidden from establishing an academy under the name Canglan Academy. Furthermore, none of your students are permitted to cultivate the techniques or martial skills belonging to our Canglan Academy. To put it simply, the main academy does not permit another Canglan Academy to exist in Qingzhou. Ye Xuan nodded. I understand. You may return now. The brocade-robed youth frowned. Are you mocking us? Tell Ji Yun to come out and speak. Ye Xuan turned and slapped him. The young man's expression changed. He raised his arm to block. Boom! Ye Xuan's palm struck his forearm, causing his entire body to tremble. Ye Xuan immediately stepped closer and drove his knee into the young man's stomach. Bang! The brocade-robed youth flew backward and crashed heavily onto the ground. When Ye Xuan suddenly attacked, the other two students moved to intervene. But Mo Yunqi and Baize were faster. Baize charged straight toward one of them. Mo Yunqi moved even faster. Bang, 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 bang! Only a few breaths later, both students were thrown out of the hall, crushed. They had been crushed without the slightest ability to resist. With the cultivation resources Ye Xuan had been providing, Baize and Mo Yunqi had become far stronger than before. Baize in particular had already reached the Nether Passage realm. His physical strength was now powerful enough to directly confront a Divine Union realm expert. The brocade-robed youth was about to speak again when Mo Yunqi suddenly said, Brother, I am begging you. Can you stop talking? If you keep going, Bandit Yi is going to cut you down with one sword. Your death would not matter much. But then the bastards behind you might run here and use senior experts to bully the younger generation. How would anyone be able to play then? It would be damn annoying. Listen to my advice and get out of here quickly. I am only saying this for your own good. After speaking, he turned and left with Baize and Xianxia. The expressions of the three visitors became unbearably ugly. This was an overwhelming humiliation. After a long while, the brocade-robed youth gritted his teeth. We are leaving. The three turned and departed. Not far away, the fifth tower master watched their retreating figures and sighed softly. The main academy of Canglan Academy is filled with fools. He turned toward Canglan Hall. They have students like these and still refuse to take them. Have they lost their minds? Naturally, he knew something about the main academy's refusal to help. Canglan Academy's branch in Qingzhou had declined for far too long. That had been true in the past. But now, with these four young people, rising again would not be difficult. Even if this branch never recovered, the futures of Ye Xuan and the other three were immeasurable. Ye Xuan had already displayed dazzling talent. In the fifth tower master's eyes, Mo Yunqi, Baize, and Xianxia were also exceptional, not merely within Zhang Kingdom. Even across all of Qingzhou, they would stand out. Unfortunately, the main academy still judged this place according to its old reputation. The fifth tower master shook his head, sighed, and turned away. This was an internal matter of Canglan Academy. As an outsider, it was inconvenient for him to interfere. Inside Canglan Hall, the four sat around a table. Mo Yunqi said in a deep voice, Once those people return, I am afraid the main academy will soon send others to cause trouble. Ye Xuan replied, That cannot be avoided. What we should consider is not whether they will come, but how we can become stronger. As long as the four of us are powerful enough, there is no need to fear anyone. That is true. Ye Xuan looked toward Mo Yunqi. When will you reach the Nether Passage realm? Mo Yunqi was silent for a moment. 1 month. Ye Xuan shook his head. Half a month. If you fail to reach the Nether Passage realm within 15 days, half of your food will belong to Baize from then on. Baize hurriedly nodded. Good. That is an excellent arrangement. Mo Yunqi glared at him. Half a month then? Ye Xuan nodded and looked toward Xianxia. What about you? She hesitated. 1 month. Ye Xuan shook his head. 1 additional roast chicken and 1 roasted lamb leg every day. Xianxia considered it. Half a month. She raised 1 finger. If you add a pork knuckle, I will reach the Nether Passage realm in 10 days. Ye Xuan nodded, agreed. Xianxia nodded, approved. Beside them, Mo Yunqi suddenly stood and shouted angrily, Bandit Yi, that is unfair, why does she get? Xianxia looked at him. At some point, a saber had appeared in her hand. The corner of Mo Yunqi's mouth twitched. Sister Ji, I did not mean anything else. My complaint is with Bandit Yi, not you. Ye Xuan stood and looked toward Mo Yunqi. Although I am the academy head, I am not an autocrat. Canglan Academy is very democratic. Anyone may settle a matter through a vote. He looked toward Xianxia. Who do you vote for? Xianxia answered sincerely, you, Mo Yunqi. Cultivation. During the days that followed, all four trained like madmen. As for recruiting students, the four had already chosen a date. When that day arrived, Canglan Academy would hold its first true student selection in several decades, with the royal family of Jiang Kingdom and Drunken Immortal Tower helping spread the news. Word of Canglan Academy's recruitment quickly traveled across the entire kingdom. Countless people began heading toward the imperial capital to apply. Cangmu Academy no longer existed in Jiang Kingdom. Naturally, Canglan Academy had become the only choice. The reputation of Ye Xuan and his three companions had also grown enormously, drawing even more people from every region of the kingdom. With Drunken Immortal Tower and the royal family fully supporting the event, the number of applicants continued to rise. Behind Canglan Academy, within the bamboo forest, Ye Xuan sat cross-legged on the ground. The Lianshu's sword floated beside him. Under his control, sword intent and sword light converged madly toward his eyes. After a moment of complete silence, Ye Xuan suddenly opened them. Hum, hum, two strands of sword light shot from his empty eye sockets with the speed of lightning. Two bamboo stalks 10 zhang away were severed at their roots. The corners of Ye Xuan's mouth curved upward. He had already cultivated the sword eyes, but previously he had not been able to control them. Now, he could direct those two streaks of sword light with precision. Even so, it was still not enough. Continue practicing. During the following days, all four remained immersed in frantic cultivation. Although Ye Xuan was the academy head, he handled almost every matter concerning Mo Yunqi, Baizhe, and Xianxia. Every few days, he descended the mountain to obtain the cultivation resources they required. At the same time, the various buildings of Canglan Academy were gradually completed. Money flowed away like water. But for Canglan Academy, and for his three companions, the expense was worth it. Ye Xuan had never regarded that wealth as his personal property. He was not merely the head of Canglan Academy. He was also their brother. As the eldest among them, he had to take proper care of the others. When they deserved to be beaten, he would beat them. When they deserved to be scolded, he would scold them. And when they needed protection, he would protect them with his life. Time passed. Less than one day remained before Canglan Academy's student recruitment began. Night. Ye Xuan sat cross-legged within the bamboo forest, his eyes closed. The Lianshu sword remained beside him. Within 30 zhang, his sword intent spread outward like an enormous net. Sense. At this moment, he could sense everything around him. The sword eyes contained 3 stages. He had now reached the second sense. He had to use his heart to perceive the world. In the past, he had observed everything with his eyes. Now, he had to see through his heart. The eyes and the heart were entirely different concepts. They represented 2 different realms of perception. The eyes could see only appearances. The heart could look through to the essence beneath them. Ye Xuan had been sitting there for an entire day. During that time, he sensed the wind, the breath of the earth, the grass, the trees, the flowers, and even the white clouds drifting across the sky. He sensed everything. When he had still possessed ordinary sight, he had never carefully experienced any of these things. The mysterious woman had once told him that while alive, one should remain grateful to the world. Only now did Ye Xuan begin to understand a portion of what she meant. The third stage of the sword eyes was thought. What was called thought was, in truth, enlightenment. At certain times, a person needed to settle their mind and quietly reflect upon everything around them. Doing so was greatly beneficial. In recent years, Ye Xuan had indeed been too restless. Beneath the moonlight, he sat without moving. The space around him was equally still. Elsewhere, although Baizhe had already reached the Nether Passage realm, he did not dare relax. He was determined not to let Mo Yunqi bully him. If Mo Yunqi became stronger, Baizhe was certain he would be the first person that fool came looking for. Being beaten by Bandit Yi was not especially humiliating. Being beaten by Mo Yunqi would be unbearable. Baizhe's current task was to control the power of the demon bloodline within his body. At present, his physical strength and defense were nearly unmatched among cultivators of the same realm. Even against a Divine Union realm expert, he felt no fear. Money. All of that strength had been built by spending money. During this period, not a single day passed without Baizhe consuming pills and supreme quality medicinal supplements. Even he had no idea how much had been spent upon him. A single body-tempering pill already cost several 100,000 gold coins. Behind Canglan Mountain, Mo Yunqi raced along a mountain path with countless iron balls tied to his body. Work harder, struggle with everything he had. During this period, he had lived an extremely miserable life. Being bullied by Bandit Yi was already bad enough. Now Baizhe had reached the Nether Passage realm and came every day demanding a one-on-one battle. He called it sparring. In reality, he came to beat Mo Yunqi. This could not be endured. Deep in the mountains, Mo Yunqi roared furiously and increased his speed again. He was now moving faster than the wind. He possessed the light spirit physique. But having the light spirit physique did not mean he could avoid cultivation. The physique merely granted him many natural advantages. If he refused to work, he would remain no different from an ordinary person. Mo Yunqi also consumed enormous amounts of cultivation resources. Ye Xuan had obtained a special pill for him known as the Wind Spirit Pill. It stimulated the potential within his body and helped him make better use of the surrounding wind to increase his speed. In addition, he consumed qi-gathering pills. Running consumed an enormous amount of energy. Without those pills, he could never train for so many hours each day. Within the bamboo forest, Ye Xuan did not move. His sword intent continued floating around him as he immersed himself completely within his perception. He could now sense everything nearby. The world revealed through his heart felt far more real than anything his eyes had once shown him. For the first time, Ye Xuan realized that losing his eyes might not be such a terrible thing. No one knew how long he remained in that state. At last, he recalled his sword intent and rose. Ye Xuan released a deep breath. He felt indescribably comfortable, indescribably joyful. Sword eyes. This was also a form of belief in the sword Dao. In truth, every cultivation method and sword technique taught by the mysterious woman contained a kind of faith in the sword. Ye Xuan opened his palm. The Lianshu sword flew into his hand and trembled softly as though responding to him. 100% compatibility. He could now release the sword's full power. If he entered the Nether Passage realm, an ordinary Divine Union realm expert would no longer be his opponent. Only another supreme genius like Anlanju would be capable of fighting him. Anlanju. The moment he thought of her, the corner of Ye Xuan's mouth rose. Anlanju and Ye Lian were both in the central divine continent. He had also considered traveling there in the future and testing his sword against even more monstrous geniuses. A worthy man should set his ambitions across the 4 directions. He should protect those he cared about and sleep beside the person he loved. Ye Xuan laughed loudly, put away the Liangshu sword, and entered the world prison tower. Inside the tower stood the massive sword once carried by the Sword Emperor. It was enormous, roughly 4 feet long, with razor-sharp edges on both sides. Its entire body was black and faint red light pulsed across its surface. A black chain was attached to the hilt, clearly intended for securing the weapon. The sword had no point. At the very least, it surpassed the bright rank. It stood 1 full grade above the Lianshu sword. After remaining silent for a while, Ye Xuan gripped the hilt with his right hand. To his surprise, he could barely move it. He circulated the profound energy within his body. The sword trembled, but it did not leave the ground. Ye Xuan frowned. At last he grasped the hilt with both hands and lifted with all his strength. The massive sword shook and rose slightly more than an inch before crashing back down. Too heavy. Ye Xuan's expression became solemn. The weight of this sword had exceeded his imagination. He felt deeply conflicted. Devour it. He could feed the sword to the world prison tower. If he did, he would immediately enter the Nether Passage realm, and the Lianshu sword might even rise to the highest grade of the bright rank. But doing so would waste this extraordinary weapon. He could not lift it now. That did not mean he would never be able to wield it. As though remembering something, Ye Xuan left the world prison tower and brought the great sword outside with him. He sensed the weapon standing before him. Grasping the hilt with both hands, he used the iron chain to bind his hands to the sword. Then the space between his brows shifted. A single character appeared upon his forehead. Earth, the Dao Rule. Ye Xuan had never forgotten that he possessed this trump card. The ground beneath his feet began trembling violently. In the next moment, endless power of the earth gathered toward his body. Stop! Ye Xuan suddenly raised his right hand and blocked Mo Yunqi's path. Mo Yunqi stared at him with extreme caution. More accurately, he had already entered a state of full alert. He understood Ye Xuan too well. Bandit Yi solved every problem by hitting someone. This time, however, Ye Xuan did not attack. He gently patted Mo Yunqi on the shoulder. Did those words truly come from the bottom of your heart? Mo Yunqi hurriedly nodded. Yes, absolutely. Every word came from the bottom of my heart. Ye Xuan nodded. Good. Then say it 2 more times. Mo Yunqi. Only after Mo Yunqi repeated the words several more times did Ye Xuan turn and leave. Mo Yunqi watched his retreating back. Then he crouched on the ground and made violent retching noises while cursing inwardly. Damn it. That bastard truly has no shame. After a while, Mo Yunqi stood and clenched both fists. Determination covered his face. One day I will repay Bandit Yi tenfold for this humiliation. He released a bizarre howl and ran away. Ye Xuan returned to the bamboo forest. Inside the world prison tower, he sensed the enormous sword before him, and the corner of his mouth slowly lifted. In the end, he decided not to devour it. When he used the power of the earth, he could wield this sword. And once it entered his hands, his sword attacks gained an additional kind of strength. The purest, most tyrannical physical force. If Ye Xuan activated the power of the earth and used this great sword to perform one sword decides life and death, the result would undoubtedly be extraordinary. After a moment, he smiled. This sword is enormous and completely black. I will call it Big Black, the Big Black Sword. A shameless grin spread across his face. He was clearly extremely satisfied with the name. Ye Xuan evaluated his current strength. Although he had not yet reached the Nether Passage realm, he could advance whenever he wished. After all, he now possessed money. Apart from one sword decides life and death, his greatest trump card was currently the Sword Eyes. That technique would undoubtedly produce excellent results in battle. He also possessed the Dao Rule. The power it granted could strengthen one sword decides life and death, sword momentum, sword intent, battle intent, the power of the earth. One sword decides life and death. Only when those 5 forces were layered together would Ye Xuan reveal his strongest trump card. As for the World Prison Tower, he would not use it again even if he stood at the edge of death. The backlash was far too damn painful. Ye Xuan returned to the bamboo forest and raised his head toward the horizon. At that moment, the image of a young woman appeared in his mind. Her clothes were as white as snow, untouched by mortal dust. Xianxia. How powerful had she become by now? After a while, Ye Xuan grinned. "Little An, wait for me." He turned and walked into the distance. Ye Xuan entered the kitchen. Xianxia was still chopping ingredients. When she noticed him, she stopped. Though half a steamed bun remained in her mouth, Ye Xuan smiled. "Come down the mountain and buy some things with me." Xianxia did not refuse. She immediately put away her saber and followed him down the mountain. The sky had already brightened. Less than 2 hours remained before Canglan Academy officially began recruiting students. Ye Xuan and Xianxia walked slowly along the road. Before long, they arrived at Drunken Immortal Tower. A delicate-looking young woman named Little Gu came to receive them. She clearly knew Ye Xuan's identity and treated him with great courtesy. Ye Xuan smiled. "We came to buy clothes." Little Gu looked toward Xianxia and smiled. "Young Master Yi, Miss Ji, please follow me." Ye Xuan sat inside a room. A while later, Little Gu returned with Xianxia, who had already changed clothes. Xianxia now wore a dark, mist-colored blouse over a green skirt decorated with patterns of flowers and drifting clouds. The outfit fit her perfectly. It emphasized her slender figure, adding a graceful and alluring quality to her appearance. Although the clothing was conservative, it did not make her seem cold. Instead, it gave her a fragile gentleness that made others instinctively want to approach and protect her. Ye Xuan smiled. "Do you like it?" Xianxia nodded. "Very much." Ye Xuan laughed. "As long as you like it." He turned toward Little Gu. "Choose several sets of men's clothing based on my build, and prepare a few larger sets in the same style." Ye Xuan, Mo Yunqi, and Baiza all needed new clothes. Today was an important occasion, but since the 3 of them were men, there was no need to be overly particular. Xianxia was different. She was a young woman. It was better for her to try the clothes on herself. Little Gu smiled. "I understand." She was about to leave when Xianxia suddenly said, "I want more." Little Gu turned toward her. Xianxia said, "I want every outfit I saw earlier." Little Gu froze, then hurriedly nodded. "Yes." She turned and left. A while later, Little Gu carried a large chest into the room. Ye Xuan stored it in the World Prison Tower. He was about to pay when Little Gu hurriedly said, "Young Master Yi, I would not dare accept your money. Drunken Immortal Tower wishes to present these clothes to you free of charge. Please do not refuse." Ye Xuan shook his head and smiled. "That will not do. Our relationship is one matter. Payment is another. If you refuse to accept my money, I will not buy anything here again." He took out a small pouch and handed it to her. "I believe this should be enough." Little Gu hesitated. But Ye Xuan had already turned and left with Xianxia. She hurriedly followed them out to see them off. Ye Xuan walked leisurely through the streets. Xianxia followed beside him. At some point, a chicken leg appeared in her hand. Neither of them spoke. Their shadows stretched farther and farther behind them. Half an hour later, the crimson sun slowly rose from the edge of the horizon. A new day had begun. That day, an enormous number of people traveled toward Canglan Academy. Join Canglan Academy. Without question, that was the goal of countless young people throughout Jiang Kingdom. Cangmu Academy no longer existed anywhere in the kingdom. For youths hoping to distinguish themselves, entering Canglan Academy was now the best possible choice. Joining an academy meant receiving guidance from instructors. It also meant obtaining cultivation resources. That day the foot of Jian Mountain was packed with people. So many. Far too many. When Ye Xuan and the other 3 looked down from the mountain, all 4 froze. None of them had expected such an enormous crowd. Beside Ye Xuan, Mo Yunqi stammered, "Be Bandit Yi, there are so many people." Ye Xuan smiled. "That is a good thing." A large crowd meant that Canglan Academy's reputation had already spread throughout the kingdom. Mo Yunqi nodded excitedly. "I never imagined that I, Mo Yunqi, would one day become an instructor. An instructor." Canglan Academy currently had no senior experts overseeing it. Therefore, the 4 of them would all serve as instructors. In addition to teaching, they were also responsible for various tasks within the academy. In simple terms, wherever someone was needed, one of the 4 would go. All 4 had dressed carefully for the occasion. Xianxia in particular had always been beautiful. Now that she wore an elegant dress, her appearance became even more striking. As the crowd below continued to grow, Ye Xuan said softly, "How wonderful it would be if old Ji were still alive." Old Ji. The smiles on Mo Yunqi, Baiza, and Jianji's faces immediately froze. Jianji clenched her hand without speaking. After a while, Ye Xuan raised his head toward the horizon. "Old Ji, watch carefully. One day, Canglan Academy will become the greatest academy in Qingzhou. No, it will become the greatest academy in the entire King Kong world." After saying this, he walked down the mountain. Mo Yunqi and the other two followed closely behind. Before long, the four arrived at the foot of the mountain. The moment the crowd saw them, the entire area erupted. Some people even began shouting their names. Beside Ye Xuan, Mo Yunqi clasped his hands behind his back and adopted an extremely serious expression. Baiza also stood straight, looking solemn and dignified. Jianji hid her right hand behind her back. A chicken leg remained in her grasp. Ye Xuan slowly raised both hands, then gently pressed them downward. The enormous crowd immediately fell silent. He stepped forward. Mo Yunqi instinctively began moving after him, but Baiza grabbed and pulled him back. Baiza glared at him. "Bandit Yi is about to give a speech. Why are you trying to cause trouble, Mo Yunqi?" Below them, every person in the crowd looked toward Ye Xuan.